Hey guys, Nuan here with Movie Slinger Reviews. Today we are going to talk about X-Men Dark Phoenix, written and directed by Simon Kinberg. The story takes place in the 90s where the X-Men are sent on a mission into the upper atmosphere, right at the edge of space. There they encounter what they believe to be a solar flare, but we all know it's the Phoenix Force, which is absorbed by Jean. The team comes back and everything seems fine at first, but then they realize there's something wrong with Jean, something inside her that she can't fully control. There's people who want to kill her and another group that wants to acquire this destructive power. Charles Xavier and the X-Men have to figure out how to reach out to Jean and make sure she doesn't hurt herself or potentially destroy the entire planet. I really like this story. It's no longer a subplot within a larger narrative like in X-Men 3. It doesn't get distracted and is laser focused on the relationship between Charles Xavier and Jean Grey, as it rightfully should have been. And to be honest, the story is more Xavier than you might expect. We see the result of Xavier's ego gone too far, because while his intentions may have been good, his self-righteous attitude may have disastrous consequences. There are secrets he has locked away deep inside Jean's mind, totally convinced that it's for her own good. And since the Phoenix amplifies her emotions, making her overreact to every impulse, the tension comes from wondering A. How will Jean react when she uncovers these secrets, and B. Can Xavier or Scott or Raven get through to her before she crosses that line? What really surprised me was the slow pacing of this movie, because this is not an epic superhero action movie. It plays more like a character-focused drama, and I have a feeling this might catch a lot of people off guard. This didn't bother me because I love these characters and they are given plenty of time to talk, to express themselves and get into some really heated discussions on how to deal with Jean. These character moments are the best thing in this movie. We have seen Magneto getting pissed at Xavier, but here we see people that usually have his back turn against him. James McAvoy is once again amazing as Charles Xavier. I really liked how they built up his relationship with Jean. This movie showed a side of him we haven't really seen yet. He has been fighting for peace between humans and mutants, but what happens after that? In this movie, we see that, and it's basically the root of all their problems now. Michael Fassbender is great as Magneto. There's an emotional scene where Jean goes to Eric for advice. Eric has done bad things in his past and Jean wants to know how he turned good. And his response really showed the complexity of his character and why he's always been one of Marvel's best villains. This scene was intense, it was suspenseful, and Fassbender gave a great performance. Nicholas Hoult was very good as Beast. I love his makeup, which looks really good now. It's the last movie and they finally got it right. The scene where Hank starts blaming Xavier was really powerful. There's another scene where Hank and Mystique are starting to realize, yeah, all of this is Xavier's fault. Jennifer Lawrence plays Mystique. She's not in the movie much, but I think they used her really well. She's sort of the team leader that Scott will eventually have to grow into. And I like how younger mutants look up to her, and she's not afraid of standing up to Xavier as well. I love Ty Sheridan as Scott Summers. Unlike X-Men 3, which killed off Cyclops in the first 10 minutes, he has plenty of stuff to do, which is great. I liked how they set up his character and relationship with Jean in the previous movie, and here we see it developed further. There are some nice moments between Scott and Jean, and it's great to see a movie where Cyclops is around from the beginning till the end. Sophie Turner gives a decent performance as Jean. She does have to juggle between different emotions because Jean goes through a lot by the end. She's confused, scared, furious and sad, and I thought she delivered, especially in the scenes with Xavier. Also, the little girl who played the childhood Jean was good, and it was cute to see her becoming friends with Charles. Nightcrawler, Storm and Quicksilver are there, although they don't really contribute much to the drama. But we do get cool scenes where the X-Men have to use teamwork. The opening space mission is a great example where we see the team combine their powers. The characters have good chemistry and it's a really fun sequence. The Quicksilver and Nightcrawler powers are the highlight and they are used in some really creative ways. The movie doesn't have a lot of action, but the few scenes they do have are entertaining. There's a cool scene where the team fights Jean, and then later on, a fight with Magneto in a busy street. And then of course, the climactic final showdown on this train. This sequence was amazing, and I was completely geeking out. Magneto is awesome, and Nightcrawler goes crazy and starts kicking ass. The action could have gotten messy with all these characters jumping around and teleporting, but thankfully the movie is shot and edited really well. The action looks clean and easy to follow. There's a lot of melancholy music which gets the job done, but nothing memorable, and I wish they could have brought back the John Ottman theme from X2, which I really love, but sadly that was missing. So far so good, but what's the problem with this movie? Well, that's very simple. The character played by Jessica Chastain is by far the worst villain we've had in an X-Men movie. She's as generic as they come, and I don't even remember her name. She has henchmen who are as forgettable as her, but they do provide good cannon fodder for the X-Men to fight. Whenever these characters were on screen, I just lost interest and got bored. Conclusion. The critics have been very harsh towards this movie, but I can tell you it's not that bad. It's definitely better than X-Men Origins and The Last Stand, and I even enjoyed it more than Deadpool 2. I think it ranks somewhere near the Wolverine and Apocalypse. I like the character-focused drama and seeing this family become dysfunctional and break apart, not just because of Jean's destructive powers, but also Xavier's egotistical and overconfident personality was really interesting. Magneto really gets it. I love the part where he says, "You're always sorry, Charles, and there's always a speech, but nobody cares." That sums up the whole story. Now, I understand that when fans think about the Dark Phoenix story, they're thinking about the M'Kraan Crystal, the Shia Empire, Lilandra, and this dude. That's not in the movie. So if you're expecting a cosmic adventure, you will be disappointed. This movie is not for you. Don't bother watching it, just wait for Marvel to reboot the X-Men because that's probably what you already want. But if you're like me and you love the characters in this live-action series, then you will enjoy Dark Phoenix. I'm gonna give X-Men Dark Phoenix a 7.5 out of 10. I had my doubts about Simon Kinberg, but I feel like he delivered a decent and solid ending for these characters. The final scene with Charles and Eric was perfect, and that along with the epilogue was a really nice ending for this story. I grew up watching this series, so if you're feeling a little nostalgic like me, give this movie a chance, go watch it in the theater. So there you have it. Have you watched X-Men Dark Phoenix and what did you think about it? Is it the worst X-Men movie ever made? Please leave your thoughts in the comment section and don't forget to like and subscribe. Movie Slinger out.